This is devlog number one for my new game, Bottled Up. So, pretty much, I had this game, I had this idea for this game called Bottled Up. That's what it's going to be called. And it's essentially about a teenage boy, just like me. And he's struggling, struggling with like depression, um, like negative thoughts, anxiety, and he tends to, instead of talking to people about his feelings, he tends to bottle them up, literally bottle them up. So the whole story of the game is you can either choose to say like a mean thing back, or you bottle up that speech bubble, and it like turns into kind of like this monster, and you bottle it up and stuff it in your pocket. And you lock it away in this chest where no one ever finds it. No one knows the combination to the chest except for you. Only you can access that chest. So no one even knows what's going on, what you have locked away deep inside. Um, and so the goal of the game is to, of course, not bottle up those emotions and actually talk about them, because this whole idea came from my experiences, because it's going to be kind of like like a a game to help other people who are going through the exact same thing that I'm going through, or something similar, just struggling with suicidal thoughts, anxiety, depression, just all those thoughts. And this game is meant to help them work through that, because I really wanted to make something that would help people that are going through the same thing that I'm going through. And I thought, hey, I like video games. Lots of other people like video games. That's like one of the best ways to, I don't know, like get your intentions out, I guess, or like, I don't know. Video games for me are like something that can, like, if they have a really profound storyline. Like, for example, there's this game called Shut In, and it's kind of like the same concept. The I think the author of the game was like struggling with anxiety, depression, stuff like that, and he made it so that he could help other people through that same thing. But my game is going to have a Christian viewpoint as well. There's gonna be lots of Christian like values and references to the Bible. I'm really trying to make like a lot of like metaphorical references to the Bible, um, because I really want it to be a game that can kind of bring people to God as well. I want I want to make something that can kind of like encourage them to go down that path and pursue Christ, in the only way that like God can really show them how. So I'm trying to like open up that door for them and give them that opportunity to pursue Christ. Um, but anyways, the whole point of starting this game is because I recently went through a very bad breakup. Um, I was. It's still really hard to talk about, but the whole backstory is because I was not a Christian. I've grown up in a Christian household my whole life. My parents are Christian. Pretty much everyone I know is Christian. I go to a Christian school. So Christianity is a huge part of my life, but I never really truly believed in God. I knew that there had to be a creator, because like my mind is very logical, and I didn't find it even remotely possible for there to just be like, two proteins collided, boom, life. But even if that was possible, one in a 7 million billion trillion quadrillion of a chance, where did the proteins come from? What made the proteins? So I knew from the start that there had to be a creator. I don't know if it was God, if it was Allah, if it was Zeus. I don't know. I didn't know who it was, but I knew that there had to be a creator. I just didn't find life like possible without a creator. Everything was too perfect. So I knew that there was something going on, but I didn't really truly believe that there was a God, that there was a Jesus, and that the Bible was real and the truth and the way and the life. Um, so I really didn't follow the teachings of God, or really listen to the Bible. Every time we would pray, I would kind of go, oh, this again, great. but now I pray every morning. So that's one of the ways that I've changed. Don't remember what I was saying. Hold on. Right. Backstory for this game is I broke up with my girlfriend because of a silly, selfish reason. Um, and I was so selfish. My whole life I've been selfish, and I know I can't. No one's perfect, right? Everyone's gonna be selfish, but I was so blind to my own actions and to the effect that bottling up my emotions and not talking to anyone about them. I was so blind to the effect that that was having on me and other people, because someone would say something to me like, "Hey, your shirt looks stupid. That shirt looks stupid on you," and I would go, "Whatever." But I wouldn't. I would actually care. I would like bottle that emotion up, and I wouldn't tell anyone about it. And I'd come home maybe that day, and I would say something rude to my parents. Like they'd be like, "Hey, how was school?" And I'd be like, "Just don't talk to me." And then they would keep pushing and pushing, ask me what's wrong, and then I would start like getting belligerent and angry, instead of actually talking to them about it, which would have been so much easier. And I do that now. I've realized that talking actually helps so much. For anyone out there that you think like talking is a burden if it's not worth it, or like whatever you're feeling, like you don't talk about your emotions, do it. Just try it one time. Next time you feel any like sadness or anger, just talk to someone about it. Doesn't have to be your parents. It can be like your friend, your girlfriend, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your grandparents. It can be anyone. Just anyone you know. Just talk to them. If you're feeling down, just talk to someone you're comfortable with. Because trust me, it will help. It does help. But I would always bottle up my emotions, and I would bottle up my anger and my sadness, and I wouldn't ever tell anyone about it, because my reasoning was because I didn't want to put that burden on them. But really, I was just protecting myself. I think that's the way to say that. Or just not capable of communicating. So I would bottle up all those emotions, and then eventually, like I'd bottle those up, and they would just kind of disappear for a few days or whatever. And then a few days later, maybe I'd be in like a bad mood, and instead of talking to someone about it, I would just throw daggers, because I need to blame someone for how I'm feeling. And since my ex-girlfriend, sorry, my ex-girlfriend, um, she was the only, or not the only, she was the person that I talked to the most. All that anger and those knives and that blame would go on to her, even though she hadn't done anything wrong. Um, so that's one of the damages on one of the people that I love the most, um, that bottling up emotions had. That's one of the like biggest effects that it had on the people around me and on my life and on her life. Let me look at my notes here. So yeah, um, bottling up emotions, not good. That's why I'm here in the first place. That's why I'm making this game, is because I want to show people that that's not the right thing to do. That's not the way that we were made. We were not made to just shove everyone away and like go at it alone. We are not meant to go at it alone. We're meant to have community and friends and family that help us through all these difficult times and this grief and pain, suicidal negative thoughts. Your family and your friends, they're all supposed to help you through that. You're not supposed to go at that alone. And you have God as well. You're never alone. You are never alone. Even if you don't have your family around you, God is with you always. So if you feel down, you just feel like you need someone to talk to, just go like this, put your head down, close your eyes, start praying. You can just pray to God, ask him to, if you're having negative thoughts, just tell him what you're thinking, and then say, that's not right. Or if you have some emotions that you don't want to bottle up, but you don't really have anyone you feel comfortable talking to, Just pray. God's not going to judge you. He loves it when you talk to him. So even if you don't feel comfortable talking to someone, just talk to God. Just tell him everything that you're feeling, and that will have release. I promise you that you will feel that release. Maybe not instantly. Maybe it won't happen for a week or a few days or a week, but you will feel release. Even if it's just for a few minutes, an hour, you will feel that release. You will feel that release from that that tightness in your chest. It'll just release. Um, so um, yeah, talking about your emotions. Um, it's kind of what the game is going to show, is that like talking about your emotions is good. That's how you get like the good ending, and you can get um, like the more you talk about your feelings, the more your family will like come to you and like trust you with in the game. The more your family will come to you and trust you with like their feelings as well. Is if you share, then you're being vulnerable, then they will also be vulnerable back, and they will talk to you. And that is how it works in real life too. So it's kind of metaphorical in that way. Um, and another thing is, this is more of like a this devlog is turning into more of like a Christian podcast, but that's okay. That's good. That's great, actually. Um, any of you out there who are going through a really like rough time, you just feel you're grieving all the time, you feel like you'll never be happy again. There are ups and downs. There are positive days and there are negative days. For example, Friday, I think yesterday was Saturday. Yeah, Friday. Friday night, I was really down in the dumps. I felt like I was gonna be. I just like. There's no point in working on myself and changing if it's not affecting anybody. Um, and I can see in the moment that was everything to me. In the moment, I felt like, yeah, this is the truth. Excuse me. There's nothing I can do about this. Um, there's no point. I just felt completely hopeless, useless. Like I can't do anything right. Um, God hates me. My family hates me. No one likes me. I'm just a useless. I'm a failure. Um, and those were the thoughts that were going through my head on Friday. And I just felt like that was everything. I wasn't gonna recover from that. And then Saturday, so on Friday night, I was like maybe a 9 on like the depression scale. Like 10 is like insanely depressed, almost suicidal, and 1 is like you're fine. It's just like a chill day. You don't feel, you're just happy. I was probably like an 8 or a 9 on the scale on Friday, and I woke up Saturday, um, feeling like maybe a 5 or a 6. And Saturday I had a football scrimmage, um, and I was kind of, had like a rumbling in my stomach, kind of like a sick, like just like a big smooth brick just sitting in my stomach, like weighing me down, just like kind of, I don't want to be here. I just want to go home and sleep. Um, just kind of like that, like guilty, grieving feeling. So it's probably like a 5 or a 6 until the scrimmage started, and then my mood went up to like a 2 or a 1. Um, so that shows that like even if you feel like what you're feeling is everything in that moment, it will get better. Like it might take a few hours, a day, 2 days, 3 days, but eventually you will look back and see, oh, that wasn't everything. That was just some negative thoughts. That was just Satan worming his little lies into my brain and trying to take over my brain and make me think things that aren't true. Um, just like bring me down, hurt me. And it's not true. None of those thoughts were true. But I thought at the moment I thought they were true. I really did. Um, and so there are ups and downs of grief. Grief isn't like this. It's like this. It goes like this. So like you have a good day, and then oh man, I'm so sad and angry, and then oh, I'm good now. So it's like grief goes up and down. It goes up and down in waves, and eventually it'll level out, and you'll get over that pain, and eventually that pain, you won't forget about it. You'll always remember the pain, but you're not going to wake up every morning remembering that pain as vivid as if it just happened. And that's what I've been experiencing too. Is I still think about what happened every day, but it's not as visceral as the day it happened, or the day after, or the week after. Like it's still right in the forefront of my mind, but it's not weighing down every aspect of my life. Like for a while, I think I didn't eat for like a week after that happened, because I just couldn't. But then after that, I got better. So that was one of the low periods. But then it kind of started to go back up, and I started eating again, and then it was really good because I was hanging out with friends. We were hanging out on the lake up in Wisconsin. It was great. It was a really great time, and I had just time to think, work on myself, be with God. Wisconsin is a great place. The cabin we have in Wisconsin is just a great place to just relax, let your mind go, be with God. And yeah, that time really helped me grow. It really did. And other thoughts I was having as well is like, I'm still an asshole. I haven't changed. I never will change. So what's the point in trying? Those were some more of the thoughts I was having on Friday. As well as why would I go through all this effort to change just for one person, and that one person is my sister, which now that seems ridiculous. Of course I would change if it benefited only one person. Because I was saying, what's the point of changing if it doesn't benefit every single person I meet and see and talk to? But that's not really how that, like, realistically, logically works. But now, thinking back to when I said that, that's absurd. Of course, I would go through all this again if I could change and make one person's life better. Because because I don't know if you guys probably don't know. Some of the people who do know me, who are watching this video, know that me and my sister had a really rough relationship. Like, really rough. We'd probably fight 3 times a day on average, and some days it'd be more. And I said some really, like, horrible things to her and about her. At one point I told my ex-girlfriend, if she died, or if my sister died, I would be relieved. And thinking back, that just is like one of the worst things I've probably ever thought or said, because I know that wasn't true. I know saying that, I know that I knew deep down that was not true at all, whatsoever. Because I would be devastated. I'd be devastated if she or any of my family passed away. So, anyways, we would fight practically every day, just about petty, stupid, immature things like, hey, you're kicking my chair. We just start going back and forth, just jabbing at each other. And ever since the breakup, me and my sister, we have not fought once. She hasn't gotten angry at me once. I haven't gotten angry or annoyed with her once. She gives me massages, which might sound a little weird, but when I come home from football, she'll massage my shoulders right here. I think before she even hugged me, I would have probably shoved her away and maybe yelled at her, like, what the heck are you doing? Don't touch me. But now, I honestly like her hugs. Like, I try and give her a hug every morning, and same with my mom and my dad. I'm not a physical touch person, but I do really actually enjoy hugs from my parents and my sister. But Anyways, back to my point. I would change for one person. If me changing myself would just benefit one person, I would do that 100 times just to benefit that one person. Just if it changes that one person's life and makes them happier, I would I would put myself through this again for that person. And of course, this hurts so bad, um, but I would do it because I know I have changed, um, and yeah, lost my train of thought. Um, anyways, going back to the game, um, that was the backstory of the game. I know, kind of a long backstory of how I got to thinking of what I want to do, why I want to make this game, who I want to make it for. I want to make it for people who are going through depression, anxiety, um, any just negative thoughts, spiraling in negative thoughts. Just can't get out of that eddy. You're just going around and around and around with all these negative thoughts. I'm not good enough. I'm useless. No one likes me. I'm ugly. I'm fat. I'm not athletic. Um, this game is meant to show people that that's not right. That's not you. That's not you saying that in your brain. That is Satan. That's not that's not God saying that to you. Um, and so my notes. Um, yeah, so that's who the game is for. Is for people who are going through any of those thoughts or feeling those emotions. To show them kind of how to manage those, and instead of so in the game, if you bottle up an emotion, that choice, bottling that up and not talking about it, is eventually gonna come back to bite you in the end. So when you go to the end, there'll be. I'm still working out like most like the plot. I still need to. I'm gonna write before I even start learning code in Unity, and I'm gonna use Unity to make my game because that seems like the best option. It's free, pretty universal, pretty really good program for what I want to do. Pretty simple coding. Before I start making the game or coding or anything, I'm going to write out all the characters, like all their voice lines, like everything they say. I'm writing out the whole plot of the game, how you get the good ending, the bad ending, the neutral ending, and the whole game is based off of good, neutral, and bad, or like positive, neutral, and negative. So whenever you respond to someone, you have three responses. So if you don't bottle it up, if you bottle it up, then it's like you bottle up that um, whatever that person said to you and stuff it away, and that's bad. That you're not supposed to do that because that's the whole point of the game is if you do that, you get like the bad ending and you lose. It's like not what you're supposed to do. Um, so you either have when someone I think I'm gonna do like the first option in the game to bottle up or to respond is with your sister. So you wake up, you go downstairs to breakfast, and your sister says like, "Hey, your hair looks real stupid today," and you can choose to like ignore it and bottle it up. Um, and then if you bottle it up, it's like, oh, it seems like that problem went away, but it didn't go away. That that problem, that emotion that gave you did not go away. But if you don't bottle it up, you can choose to retort or like respond, and you have three responses. You have a positive, a negative, and a neutral. And I think the positive is what you want to say. The negative is what they want you to say, and wait, the positive is what. Um,
Oh, you're
hey,
doing a recording?
yeah, can you go,
Okay.
please? Sorry, I'm flowing. I'm in a flow state.
Okay.
Sorry, that was my dad. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So the positive response is something that is the thing that you want to say, or this thing that you think would be best to say, that the character thinks would be best to say. And the neutral response is what they want to hear you say. So, like, if your sister says, "Hey, your hair looks bad today," the positive response would be, like, "Well, I think your hair looks great," or something. I don't know. I still need to work it out. And then the neutral response would be like, whatever, or shut up, because that's what they're trying to. She's trying to get a reaction out of the main character. And so if he says whatever, or shut up, then that's giving her what she wants. And then negative is what neither of you want. That's just like the wrong response, the bad response. So like the bad, I think I started writing down like some of the dialogues. Yeah, so I had options for sister report is, well, I think your hair looks great is the positive. Whatever is the neutral. So that's what she wants to hear. And then the negative is, well, at least I don't look like a Muppet. So like that would, if you use a positive, the positive, it says like a little text bubble will pop above her head and say like, um, whatever her name is feels guilty now. And then neutral is like whatever her name is feels triumphant because like she got what she wanted. She got the reaction out of you that she wanted. And then negative is like whatever her name is now very hurt, and you don't want that. You don't want to hurt your family, because that's like you're taking, instead of addressing your emotions and saying like, hey, I don't like the way you talk to me. So like the positive response as well could be like, hey, please don't talk to me like that. And that's how you should respond, instead of returning that. Fighting fire with fire essentially is returning that rude response with anger or another rude response. So that's, if you do that in the game, that's like bad. So then if you hurt someone else in the end, when you're facing like your biggest troubles, they're not going to be there to help you, and you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to fight the big monster alone. And the big monster metaphorically is, it's going to be like, I'm thinking of making like some sort of big like evil shadow monster that just like appears one night whenever. I still need to work out a whole bunch of plot points. I'll make another video once I have the whole plot completely blocked out, the good ending, bad ending, and neutral ending. I'm also doing a good, bad, neutral for the endings as well. So there's going to be like a good ending, which is when you talk to your parents and you don't bottle up anything and you address everything correctly. The neutral ending is like when you kind of bottle stuff up, but then you also kind of like talk to your parents about it. And then the bad ending is when you either bottle everything up or retort and just like push everyone away and don't tell anyone about how you're feeling. What was I saying? Dang it, I got distracted again. The endings. Oh, and there. I think I was gonna say. So the first like choice that you have introduces, first you introduce the characters, the room, the setting, all that. Then you go down to breakfast. The first choice is your sister, and I think I'm gonna have like the normal text boxes pop up above whatever the character is that's speaking. So like if mom's like, "Hey, how'd you sleep?" And then you can say like good, meh, or bad. And that's just like a normal. That's just like a normal response. That doesn't affect the ending at all. It's just like a normal conversation, as if it's a white text bubble. So if you say good, then your mom goes, good, I'm so happy. If you say meh, she's like, oh man, that sucks. And if you say bad, then she's like, oh really, what happened? Or like, oh really, you want me to make you or like, oh really, I'll make you some tea, or something like that. But it doesn't affect your like, there's a word for that, there's like a term for that, your karma, that's something like that. It doesn't affect your karma at all, like your ending karma. And then the first choice with your sister, whenever you have a choice like that, the text bubble will pop up like a different color. Maybe it'll be like a deep blue, or maybe it'll scale. The color will start like a light blue, which means like doesn't really affect you that much. So the bottle, you take out like a small bottle when you bottle it up, and it goes all the way down to red. And red is like the most hurtful thing anyone has ever said to you, and you have to take out like a huge like mason jar and like put a huge lid on it. So that would be a cool concept, is like kind of having multiple stages of things. So like at one point there will be like, maybe like your friend will come up to you at school and he'll say like, you know what, I honestly don't really like hanging out with you. And that's a red bubble. And you can't do anything but bottle that up, because it hurts so bad that you can't and like say he says that and then just walks away, so you don't even have a chance to like talk to him and say like, hey, why is that, why do you feel that way? um so then like he just says that and he walks away, and that bubble's just like floating there. So then like it just says like bottle up question mark, and there's no other option. So then you press bottle up and you take out like a huge bottle and just like bottle up this huge like emotion monster. And then you put that in your backpack, and like in real life, if someone said that to you, you would kind of be like, huh, like really like down in the dumps for the rest of the day, probably just like thinking like, what did I do wrong? What is there anything I could have done? Why do they hate me now? I thought they were my friend. Like, what did I do wrong? Why did that change? And that's gonna be like weighing you down for the rest of the day, and it's kind of gonna be really hard to like function. Um, and so that can be like the first really bad choice that like really kind of weighs you down. And the way to deal with that is when you get home after school, you go up to your mom says, "Hey, how was school?" You can say good, meh, or like it was awful. And then if you say it was awful, she goes, "Oh, what happened?" And then you can choose to take out that bottle and show it to her. And if you take out that bottle and open it up, then that's like you open it up and you let that thing go. It just like just floats out of the bottle and disappears. And then that and you smash the bottle or whatever, something like that. But if you choose to talk to your mom or your dad or your sister or whoever about it, then that's like good. That's what you're supposed to do, and it gets rid of that bottle. And in the end, you don't have to fight that certain emotion. Um, so then, like if you do that, if you choose, you can either say like if you do say bad, she says, "Oh, what happened?" You can say nothing, or you can choose to like confess. I guess I don't know what the other option would be, but you can say nothing or yeah, confess. We'll just call it confess. And if you confess, you open up all those bottles, and your mom goes like, "Oh wow, I'm really sorry that happened," and that like benefits you. It gives to your good ending karma, kind of. But then later on, if you choose to bottle something up and you don't tell about it, then that gets you like the neutral ending. Um, but I'm thinking for each ending, for the bad ending, it's not gonna end in like I originally thought like it would end in suicide, but I don't think that would really help anybody. I feel like that'd just be really sad and morbid. Um, so I decided that instead of suicide, it's like it ends. If you get the bad ending, like you do everything you're not supposed to do, it ends in like the main character. Also, main character's name is gonna be Jonah. I don't remember why I chose Jonah. There was a biblical reference to that about Jonah, but I don't remember why I chose Jonah from the Bible. But in the end, the bad ending is essentially Jonah is like estranged from his family. He comes home from school. His mom like is like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he just walks up to his room just like this, and it's just like not talking to anyone. Everything's like grayscale. I have a really good song that I made that goes to that background, really like cinematic. It's gonna fit really well with that. Once I make that animation for the ending screen, it's gonna be like everything's grayscale, kind of like sad, melancholy. And it just shows him like his friends are talking to him. He's sitting at the lunch table. His friends are all chatting around him, and he's just kind of sitting there like this, just like thinking, like, "Gosh, like what did I do wrong?" Or whatever. He's just thinking. He's sad because he didn't tell anyone what's going on. He's trying to deal with that himself, and it's not working. It's just bringing him lower and lower and lower, and that's the bad ending. Um, so the good ending is when you get. So what I think I'm gonna have is you can also get the good ending from the bad ending. So if you get all the way to the end and you're fighting the big monster, I think I'm gonna have like three options. You can either um, give up, which is the bad ending, or you can like address, which is like addressing your emotions. That's the good ending, or you can pray and just give it all up to God, and that's like the good ending. So it's like the secret ending. I don't know. Or maybe I'll make it like so you click his hands. If you click his hands, then he goes like this. That would be cool. But anyways, the the good ending is like you pray, God comes down and he like blasts the big shadow monster away and like lifts you up, and then maybe the good ending ends with like the credits rolling and you're like in church or something. I don't know. Still have to work that part out. Not even sure if I'm gonna do that. I want to, but I don't really know how to fit into the story. But the good ending is, I'm thinking if you do address at the end, like when you're fighting the big shadow monster, you press address, and that then you would like address all your emotions, and it shows you like waking up in bed, and then so like the game's done. This is just like a cutscene, and then you look at the chest that like holds all of your bottled up emotions, and you grab the chest and you start dragging it down the stairs, and you drag it down the hall, drag it down the stairs into the kitchen where your mom and your dad are eating breakfast, and your mom, your dad, and your sister are eating breakfast, and then like you kind of like start talking to them, and you unlock the chest, which you've never done before, and then you start taking out bottles and opening them up and releasing the little monster inside. And your parents are just sitting there listening to you, happy that you're finally talking to them. So that's the good ending, and I have a great song for that as well, like really hopeful, like uplifting song. And I'm doing everything myself. I've already made like kind of like a room concept for what Jonah's room is going to look like, and the chest that he holds all of his emotions in, like it's going to open one night, and it's a little tendril's going to come out and like latch onto his brain, like that, and then like give him nightmares. Because that's kind of what happens. Like if you don't, your emotions, like everything that happened during the day, kind of sometimes what happens during the day will like show up in your dreams, and that's like a way of your brain storing those memories. Is like if you have a dream of something that happened that day. So like if I had a dream last night of the football scrimmage that I went to, that's like the way of your brain like replaying that memory so that it remembers it better. It's a way of like you're like backing up your memory, kind of. At least that's what I've been told. So I think that's pretty much the whole game concept. Just to recap, it's like a game where it's like a choice game. Your character Jonah, he is just a normal teenager, goes to high school. He like struggles with communication, anxiety, and depression. Just like me. I'm gonna model him off of myself, so he kind of looks like me too. Um, and he struggles with communication. Um, sorry, listening to what's going on in the background. Okay. Recap of the game. Jonah struggles with communication, depression, and anxiety. He bottles up emotions, and then eventually they come back to harm him or the people he loves. And that's not what you're supposed to do. Don't bottle up your emotions, guys. Don't keep everything inside. You're not meant to deal with that yourself. You're meant to talk to people. You're meant to have support. You're not meant to go at it alone. So always just be hopeful. Be hopeful. Nothing will stay bad. Nothing will stay bad forever. It might be really bad right now, but it's not going to stay bad. It will get better. Even if you're going through that really low spot in the grief, it's going to get better eventually. Just don't go at it alone. You have so many people that appreciate you. So many people that love you. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll be coming back with a second devlog once I get the whole plot, everything written out. I'm going to start showcasing the pixel art that I did. Another thing, it's going to be a 2D game, pixel art, like overhead camera, looking down. On a, I think my canvas is like 200 by 200. I think that's my canvas. So every room is going to be 200 by 200, and I'm going to have a hallway that's 200. So it's going to be 200 by 600. But it's going to be 3 different images, so it's going to be like 200, 200, 200. That's going to be cool. But yeah, I'll be coming out with a second devlog once I get the whole plot written out. I'll read it all to you guys. I'll read out all the endings. I'm not gonna read out like all the dialogue boxes because that's gonna be like all the dialogue boxes where they lead. Because I'm gonna need to make like a flow chart of like this. If you respond this, it goes to this. If you respond this, it goes to this and this, and this, and yeah, it's just sorry. Because that's gonna take forever, and I'm not gonna. Once I write that, I'm probably just gonna want to be done with it and only gonna use it for reference. I'm not gonna read it to anybody because that part's gonna take a while. But yeah, thank you guys for enjoying, and if any of you like need or want me to like talk about anything or like I don't know, like address anything, or anyone wants me to like pray for anything, comment down below and I will definitely read your comments and think about them. And I'll pray for anything that you guys want as well or need. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next devlog. All right, see ya.